Hello guys, my name is expert Ezekiel Kelvin John on all issue of accountants, economy, procurement and finance. Before we are going on discussion of today, you are supposed to go every day on mentality, physical, emotion and spiritual. So let's focus on the discussion of today. Discussion of today is based on the tax compliance in general. So tax compliance is based on the following points. First of all, we're supposed to understand the meaning of a tax compliance, type of a tax compliance, indicators of a tax compliance, or sometimes we can say that key aspect of tax compliance, benefit of a tax compliance, and how consequences of involuntary tax compliance. By starting with the definition of a tax compliance. If someone asks you what is a tax compliance, you are supposed to respond as follows. Tax compliance is a tendency of a taxpayer to comply full with the tax law and regulation by reporting the correct amount of a tax and paying on time. This is the meaning or definition of a tax compliance. Tax compliance is categorized into two types: voluntary tax compliance and voluntary and involuntary tax compliance. Before proceed with discussion of voluntary tax compliance and involuntary tax compliance, we are supposed to base on the key aspect of a tax compliance. So the following as a key aspect of a tax compliance. First, paying the correct amount of a tax, seeking the professional advice, cooperate with a tax audit. But fifth is known as seeking with professional advice, and 6th point is ethical conduct. But 7th point is known as accurate recording. These are the key aspects of a tax compliance. So let's discuss another point known as voluntary tax compliance. Remember, voluntary tax compliance is a type of a tax compliance. Voluntary tax compliance refers to the principle that individual and business is willing and faithful to compliance with the tax law without enforced by the tax authority. Or in a simple way, you can say that voluntary tax compliance is ability of a taxpayer to pay tax and collect the amount of a tax on time without enforcement. This is the meaning of voluntary tax compliance. What is the indicators, or what are the key aspects that are showing that the certain place there are voluntary tax? But fifth is known as seeking professional advice, and 6th point is known as ethical conduct. These are the key aspects of a tax compliance. So let's discuss about what is a voluntary tax compliance. A voluntary tax compliance refers to the principle that individual and the business is willing and faithful to comply with the tax law without enforcement by the tax authority. These are the key aspects. This is the meaning of a voluntary tax compliance. In a simple way, you can say that voluntary tax compliance is ability of a taxpayer or other stakeholder to pay tax without forcing by the tax authority. Individual like you obey tax to pay tax without pushing by the tax authority, like paying. But second type of tax compliance is involuntary tax compliance. If someone asks you what is involuntary tax compliance, you are supposed to respond as follows. Involuntary tax compliance refers to the enforcement of a tax law and regulation through measure taken by the tax authority to ensure that the individual and the business fulfill their tax obligation. What is the indicator that shows that involuntary tax compliance is existing? The following as a key aspect or indicator showing that the involuntary tax compliance is existing. First is tax audit and investigation. Second is freezing the bank account of individual or a taxpayer, but said is existence of penalty and interest, a lot of penalty and interest, and fourth is known as legal action. These are key aspects or indicators that are showing that involuntary tax compliance is existing. So what is the benefit of voluntary tax compliance? Normal voluntary tax compliance has a lot of benefit in a countries. For instance, it building the self